Hi, so today I'm going to combine two witchy activities into one. The first is an unboxing of this small box, and because it's small, then I'll spend time doing some cartomancy, some tarot. The tarot, the card reading is going to be of a love reading for 2025, and I'm hoping to get like something for the whole year, but we'll see how that goes. And part of this box also relates to like a love reading, but not the whole thing. Yeah, so this is my second unboxing and tarot video, though I did the other two separate. And if you watched those and commented, thank you. I really appreciate that. This has been fun and like it's supposed to be educational for myself, and if it's so for other people, then that's great. But I'm just trying to like learn as I go along, so there will definitely be, mistakes here and there. I'm still putting together like my altar behind me, and these are just some basic things that I got for it. And when you see, as I'll do the tarot, like that's very much a learning thing. So let's start with this. I am not going to go into the store because I'm not like promoting things. It's not like what I'm interested in right now. I'm just kind of putting stuff together. It's cute how there's like this well packaged system here. Um, oh, cool. I got a 10% off order. I just have to read the fine print. Um, And I definitely felt like the store came, like everything came, and it came in a good time and was not lost. Like one of my things got lost, and some of my things just don't come. And this one actually is supplementing another order, which hasn't come yet, but for which I bought like this moon cloth, and they had run out. So I found it on this other website, actually at a better price anyway. So, and then if something doesn't come, you should just spread the love and buy more stuff from other people who make cool things and have cool shops. Um, and so this is kind of what I want to talk about first. If I can just get it on, it's really nice. Ooh, yeah, it has like an incense smell already, maybe from the stores in. So this is a moon phase cloth. I actually really love the green color. I hated it online. It like didn't make me want to buy it at first because it looked like very, very neon. But actually, and I don't know if the camera actually shows it kind of neon, like brighter right now, but it's like really much more muted and it's cute. I'm so happy with it and the fringe. So this is going to be like my main cloth on my ritual altar behind me, which you can't see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to like start to count the moon phases as I'm like, there during the day and keeping track of it. It's like I realize it's in the newspaper in the weather section, like at the bottom, so I can always just mark it and stuff. And that'll be really fun and like help me keep things more in track because I'm not great with time. This is really cute. I love it. Totally into it. It's gonna be perfect. And I'd love to get a little statuette of Bastet to put here. So I have a black cat, and black cats are very witchy. So yeah, this is the moon goddess cloth with the triple moon goddess symbol here. She has like one, two, three symbols. Or one, two, three moons. And I'm going to have a couple things with that, and I'll explain why in a second. The other thing with that I want to show is this, which I love. I'm not going to show it on me. Maybe you'll see it on me in like another video. Is just like a very like necessity staple moon goddess necklace, and you can like not have enough of these like necklaces for different things and occasions depending on what you're doing. Like I said, I'm focusing on some moon stuff right now. This I'm gonna keep, into the little baggies of like the whole process of disposal. So there we go. I'm already starting my witch bag of throwing stuff out. Well, I'm not throwing it out. Like I'm gonna save it and then maybe I'll throw it at someone to curse them. That won't happen. Yeah, like when I'm on the highway, I'll throw. I love this. It's just like exactly what I want. It's heavy and it's a good color and it's cold a bit. Obviously this is our symbol here. And she has, um, can't really see it because it's reflective, but there's the swirl here, which is seen here. And I'm just obsessed with this. But why am I into moon stuff right now? Well, let's look at the next thing. So this is a candle snuffer because, like I said, I'm building up the basic stuff right now, like the clock that goes on the bottom, the candle snuffer, and of course, so this has the triple moon symbol as well. Oh, it's just perfect. Yeah, I'm really into this. I can even move the candle snuffer around, so this goes in my like disposal receival witch bag. I could like move this around to keep track, although it's like kind of ambiguous. But yeah, so this is going to help me take care of my candles and put them out properly without having to like with my fingers or something like that. And this is just more respectful, and it's really well weighted. I'm gonna play with it too much and break it, but I should have it where you can see it. And put her with it. I don't think she's gonna stay up. Yeah. So what about the moon right now? Oh, this is my thank you gift. I think. So there's this thing happening called the lunastice on March 22nd. The lunastice happens every 18.6 years. Exactly, but I mean, it's fun to just call it 19. It's a weird number. Um, Again, a basic like necessity of the ritual process that I didn't have. There were moon goddess bells, but they had run out. And honestly, this one is too cute. Like, it's just so, oof, yeah. It's a really nice sound. So the lunastice is just like the solstice. It's also called the lunar standstill. And the solstice is when our seasons change. It just happens more regularly. I shouldn't have this off yet. As the sun goes around, I'm sorry, as the Earth goes around the sun. But there's also like the moon coming around the Earth, and so there's the regular period of when the moon is closest to the Earth and when it's furthest away. And so on March 22nd of coming up, the moon will be at its closest point in the past 18.6 years. If you've been watching the moon recently, because we've had full moons and stuff, you'll have seen it just like seem bigger and yeah, lower, and therefore like bigger, and it's just been wonderful to watch. And then when you look at it on the 22nd, if it's a clear day, then you will see on a clear night, then you will see just how big it is. And I hope that everyone has like some kind of moon ritual ready, because that's obviously what I'm preparing for here. And yeah, it was like something that's very important to ancient civilizations. I know that in Native American civilizations, there were like monuments built in locations to align with the lunastice. We're always in a period of like major arc or minor arc away from or towards this point of the moon phase, of the moon's like total phase, and that's just like the seasons with the sun. And so this traditionally is interpreted as kind of like one of the most emotional times for the world in general, because we're all like, the moon is so close to us. If you really do believe that the moon can move those, I don't know, water particles inside of you, or that hormones coincide with its phases of the month, then this will be a very important time. And so I hope that I'm sharing that well. You can definitely tell me more about it. If you know more, I'm sure people do. But this is my like moon starting stuff. And yeah, that's kind of why I'm interested in doing like a general world love reading, because this is like a very emotional time. And so this is an herb that's going to go with that all, and it's kind of faded what it is here on the text. But it's Damiana. Oh, maybe you can see it there. So Damiana is, if you know what it is, and you're like, okay, oh, it says some things here that it didn't say online, so I'm interested. Ternera diffusa, it's magical, and its gender is masculine. Its planet is Mars, okay? Element fire, so I guess this is Aries, and its powers are lust, love, and visions. Yeah, so this is an aphrodisiac, traditionally considered one, and maybe is chemically. It grows like from Texas south through Latin America and the Caribbean, I think. And it's like a yellow flower. It's like a cute little flower. It smells really nice. Yeah, it says that it should smell more kind of like chamomile, and it definitely does. Uh, so yeah, it's like a love associated thing. I'm just gonna put some here. It can also be smoked, and it's supposed to be enjoyable. I won't try that on camera. I may try it a bit later. It can also be a tea or like made into some kind of edibles, I suppose. It has a really nice smell. In this container, I already have put some Ditney of Crete, which is also it's not an aphrodisiac, but it's a love. It's associated with love herb, and so I'm just going to combine these two things together now to really. And then we're going to mix them up and add them later to what we're doing. Just get a whole bunch in there. This is really nice. The bag's really nice. The description is really helpful. It adds new stuff. It's fun to unbox. And there was more stuff online that I wish was like sent in a little card. You know, I like complain about that a lot, but that's just something I always want to read. I love reading stuff. And yeah, you can definitely learn more about Damiana. There's more to say about its use in magic because I think that when it's burned, it has different properties. Just like when if you burn this Ditney, which I showed in the last video, I guess it has properties for like scrying and oracles, despite it also being like in addition to it also being associated with love. So yeah, we'll spend time learning more about that. The bag's almost done here. So cute, like this trash bag, receival bag with their own little showcase. Okay, wait. Oh, this really nice. I think this is. I don't remember if I bought anything else. Oops, maybe I did. But it's fun when you get gifts. Okay. I think I did buy this one. Yeah, I must have. When I forget. So this is, yeah, obviously the last thing. I think you might have heard in one of my other videos I said I had a moon dish outside. That was part of the process of the moon cycle, lunar cycle going on right now. And the time when I was doing some moon dish stuff in my garden with a circle of rocks, which is I think a traditional way to like keep the moon's attention to where you want to place the dish, uh, was when the lunar had hit its second deepest phase. And so I was trying to practice, and then once on the 22nd, when it hits its lowest phase, then I really will try to do this ritual in earnest with these objects here and everything that you see. And this dish is going to be filled probably with some kind of like darker liquid, but I'm going to work on that. I wish I could keep the sticker. I love to reuse stickers. The thank you one. Yeah. So that like is a very small little thing that all of those things are necessary for me as I'm like building up my collection. And like there's definitely still like more and more to get. One of the things I mentioned is when I was talking here was to get a statue of Vestet, the black cat goddess from Egypt, because you definitely need some statues on your altar, and the cloth looks a little lonely without one. So I think that'll be kind of where I focus the next purchase. This is really great. I love how like everything is just the right size and it's so cute. So we're going to move into the next part, and I'm just going to try to move this back, but I might need more room. Yeah, so the next part here, we're going to try to do a love reading. And you're going to kind of see like what my process is in doing that, and also see me practice with something that's kind of an unusual tarot or oracle. Maybe you've seen it before. The first thing I'm going to do is start with a candle. This is kind of a cursed candle that I made. I don't really recommend everyone trying this because it's not necessarily safe. By which I mean when my candles like these ones in the glass start to burn down, then I put in one of these like very cheap tea candles or tea lights, and like just kind of shove it into the spot, and that kind of makes some of the wax shoot up, as you can see here, and it's dangerous. It might like shoot up and hit you, so I don't recommend everyone trying that. But when you do that, you get this beautiful combination. Originally, this was blue, and the red kind of made it more purple. And it has more. This is one I was saving for a love reading. I think the coffee will be fine. I do kind of weird stuff with my candles that I don't recommend everyone. Like this table is always covered in candle wax and I'm scraping off. And then, I like to have something that sets the intention both verbally and also like symbolically, like imagistically as an object. So this is a little heart that I made out of, I was wearing yarn that my cats had played with and had gotten ripped off. This yarn for a while, and then had taken it off and made this heart. And then I burned the ends just a little, which I like to do with these yarns that I use in different things, different rituals. Some of them will end up in the moon dish, for example, because cats always are like adding to this collection. And yeah, that just kind of puts some fire into this heart, doesn't it? I think so. That'll go here. It's not going to set on fire, I promise, guys. And just kind of like sets the intention in both like the color of the candle, the way the candle's created, and the shape of this object with it. But I also like, and this is maybe more unique to me, and you're gonna have to suffer through this moment, or you'll enjoy it, I know, is that I like to write my intention down as a poem. This is a general love reading, so I just tried to write like a very neutral, like stock love poem. I've been doing like writing poetry my whole life, but now I'm trying to use it more for like quicker applications, and not take so much time and just kind of say, okay, like what is the idea of this reading, and how can I reflect that, just quickly and directly, and set the intention. So yeah, I decided I am brave enough to read one of my poems because who knows, maybe someone needs to hear this. Yeah, so this one is called Perfect Circle. You've been killing it lately, he told me. I didn't know what to say. Could it be he meant the clouds in the sky, which my mind had turned to waterfalls of slushy ice? Or this wafting smoke I'd been looking at so long that it became a voice? I messed up everything, I said, and he looked at me like I had just handed him a bagel when what was asked for was a halo. And now I've ruined this, we both thought at the same time, but did not say, our breaths like sonic waves on two separate shores, or at least that's how it seemed to us. Yeah. So maybe I'll try to read different ones. If the intention of the reading changes, then the vibe obviously changes. I promise this won't set on fire, y'all. I don't want to cover those things. See, it like gives that fire effect, but it's quite far away. And that's like old cardstock that I had from my wedding, where I just had a bunch left over, and I've been using those, and like it fits with this intention. Um, yeah, and so I'm going to introduce the deck, and then we'll start this reading. So this is the Lenormand. We can call it Cartomancy, Oracle. Tarot is just kind of like the quick and fast word that's not necessarily technical for it, but we can call it a tarot too. This is a box that I picked up when I was traveling in the Netherlands, and so I can't really read it. The poems on the backs of cards rhyme, but I can't read the Dutch very well. But this is an example of one of the cards. You can see the symbolism of the star, and then the numerology and the playing card that is associated with it. Here are the Six of Hearts, which is always a bit unique. I'll go into that in a second. And then and then the poem, which carries some significance, but they're mostly just for fun. The interpretation comes from the book of interpretations created by Madame Lenormand, who's kind of pictured here doing a reading, who created this system in the turn of the 19th century. And she was from Normandy, so Lenormand. And so originally this was in French, but It's become popular in many European countries over time, and I read it's even like gone to Russia and Brazil as like an alternative form to tarot. So maybe people recognize this. But like I said in my other video where I used the Russian tarot, I like to collect tarots from different cultures and they or oracles, and they might not always um, like answer questions the same way as tarot. And as the Marseille tarot, the one that has the cards like Ace of Cups and Judgment that most people are used to, because every game of prediction and fortune telling does it differently. And so I love to use them for different reasons. And I think that this one can give a really good grasp of the future term. And it really does, although it's not guaranteed. One of the interesting things about this, I was just kind of like, I'm going to have the wiki here with me just so that, because I can't read the Dutch, um, of just the correspondence of the interpretations. And when I was looking at it, because I said this is like still practice, although I've used it a ton of times, my friends really enjoy it. I love reading with people because you'll see it has sort of an interactive quality. This page that I was reading, one of the interesting things was that the deck that we have handed down to us over time is the Petite Lenormand, and so it has 36 cards, which will be arranged in a row of 9 cards in 4 rows, so 36. And the it's petite, it's small, and there was probably like a bigger version, I suppose, and it was this version that was popularized later, actually through like a German form, so you can see like maybe having the Dutch one isn't a big deal. And that form was like kind of like a board game or like a game that multiple people could play and roll dice and move their characters around. And you might kind of see why. The way that this all works is kind of it's more like what's your life path or adventure right now? Um, where are you going there? And so the cards definitely have like their idiosyncrasies. I think that Madame Lenormand was a very unique reader, and her emphasis, like to choose the 6 of Hearts for the star, was maybe like more intuitive than most of us could realize. And then people started to enjoy this as a game, and then went back to it more as a way of fortune telling. But I'm kind of getting ahead of what I read. Yeah, so let's kind of start to put this together then. And like I said, so I'm just doing a general love reading for the world, because last time I did more of like what's the state of the world reading, and I think that was a pretty good reading. It was very like down to earth. There will be both good and bad things, some gifts and some challenges. And so I wonder if this will be similar, or it might be something very specific that someone has to hear. And you'll know if you do, because not everyone's going to have the same thing. So this idea of like applying to the world in general is tough, but who knows? It might just be one for someone specific. So before I do this, I'm just going to restart this video. Okay, so here we go. You saw me cut the deck a few times, and I already had shuffled it a bunch. I always make sure I shuffle my decks before I put them back. I think that's very important to do. Is like part of your ritual must also include the respect of reshuffling it, like rewind your VHS if you're old enough, you know what that means. And then I'm going to explain how this works, but we're going to go in that 4 rows of 9. And the one thing I just need to point out is that there are different ways to read it depending on if the person who's asking is male or female. Basically, you're looking for the male or female card. The querent for this one, I'm going to go with the female one, and we'll look for where the male one is in that like love connection. So bear. I'll just read them as they go out, but the reading itself won't materialize yet. Oh, they're also in Dutch, yeah. Bear, tree. This one is the bouquet. Letter. I may not know all the words, I realize. The road. Coffin. Tower. How's it look from your perspective? Move them down a little. We'll get a better view later. I'm just working this out. I don't know even what that word is. Wait, let me check. I think that's like a cliff. Not even like it matches with. I realized that not all of the numbers match. I'm gonna move on from them. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, okay, okay. I'm looking. I'm looking at the German on the wiki and like confusing with the Dutch. Moon. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so maybe and ship. So yeah, they're like kind of visible. I just want to get enough space here. Okay, so we haven't found our querent yet. So we have book, uh, read. Oh gosh, stork, cross, the side. So here's the man, hair, um, the ace of hearts, number 28. So we're trying to like connect up to this. And so already we can tell a bit about the reading, which is kind of interesting. But I'm not going to do that yet, but it's actually quite interesting. Let's move these down more. Yeah, oh, wow. I was going to say something about why I was doing this in February because I thought, you know, 8 more months. Like if the querent, this is the woman, the female card here, the Frau, the lady. I've never seen it next to the man like that. Yeah, that's really nice. The Ace of Spades, and gosh, that really shocked me. Well, I was gonna say I've done readings for people before who have asked me for a year-long reading, and then I've gotten the querent at the start here, so it gives like a good like 8 months ahead, basically, of her, like what's gonna happen, you know, and that's what's gonna come next. We're going to look at her future. And so I thought from like mid-February this would be a good rest of 2025 reading, but we're actually gonna get only about 2 months here. February now, March, April. Yeah. So then we have the anchor and the ring. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is a very potent reading. Not expected because the last reading I did, like general world reading, was like so neutral and kind of a hard reading. But this one is seeming to be more clear. I guess maybe some of that's coming through here because that reading only extended about 2 or 3 months itself, and it was looking forward to a gift, and also kind of like there was someone maybe watching you. Okay, anyways, this is freaky. Okay, let's keep going. This one, Berg, is like the mountain. I think I tried to say before from Claver. I don't know, some flowers. Not too much is going to matter more. We're just going to be these lines here that are going to matter more. So I'm just going to kind of go a bit faster. Lily, but I did want to make sure people hear some of the names and see the images. Like for example, like the mice here, some cute things. So here's what's underneath the man here. We have Foken, so number 6, um, the king. I wonder if I'm looking. I still wonder. Yeah. Oh no, clouds. Oh. So here it's the king. It's so confusing to me because like there is more cartomancy that can be done if you're able to read from the deck of playing cards. Like, but I'm not, and I think that was kind of something that was lost with Lenormand. I read that her like a lot of her works were burned by her relatives when they inherited them, which is such a shame. But yeah, so clouds. Um, which I guess you can see here. It's kind of hard to draw clouds. Anyways, yeah. So underneath our man here, and then underneath the fowl here, we have birds. Okay, and then heart. Oof, it's kind of close there. It's so close to this heart that we might need to read it in because everything is just so close right there. And this one, I think is fish. Okay. sun. Can you see that? Yes. Okay, it fits. House, dog, child. Okay, that one's kind of pushed back there. And star. Yeah, this line is really strong for if you're we're looking for like the most positive reading, but it's actually kind of pushed back a bit from where all this action is happening. Okay, fountain, snake, key, and the last one is the rider. Okay, it's weird to have number one as the last. The whole reading is quite strong. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get into it, and like you can see I'm stumbling with the language and stuff, but this is part of having fun with it for me at least. I hope you're enjoying. Like, gosh, it's just like really intense, and I just to take a moment to appreciate it. So we have the querent, the person looking for love in this reading. If you're the one coming to this page wondering about your love life, you're here. In February 2025, above you and below you are the axes of the present. There are things that you've conquered below you, and or like that you're currently taking into yourself that you've digested and are digesting now, and you're finalizing. And then there are things above you that you're still working on, and are kind of pushing a little bit more to the next couple weeks. And so our Frau, our female querent here, so she has below her, I think it's like very noticeable as the snake, number 7. Yeah. Wisdom, forbidden knowledge, right, the Eden story. I'm just reading the interpretation here, yeah, like kind of more toxic love. Like I think that's obvious, and like there you can see me reading here. I don't want to like have that so bright on the screen. If that's something you've conquered and you feel like you're finally compartmentalizing, it is really at the base of everything here. You are over it. The querent, the central question asker, is over it. It might still have like a shard in the present, but it's falling to the past. And like that snake turning into birds is very interesting because like usually the snake eats birds, but it's kind of like this like well, let's read what the birds are. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to make sure that like I got, because I have different ideas of birds than what the interpretation is. Yeah, worry, excitement, gossip, chattering, nervousness, anxiety, conversation in person as compared to like online. Yeah, so like maybe there's still this anxiety that's left and like there but still like I want to read into the bird that like there's something like flying out of the ground from this grounded snake. And that with this anxiety or whatnot about probably what seems to be a toxic relationship at the bottom here, there's like still liftoff happening. And then we come to our Frau, and she has above her the tower. So 19. And I just went, the tower is a lot of meanings in tarot. But in this tarot, it's different from the tower that you kind of are like when you see in the traditional tarot. It's more basic. It's like authority, solitude, loneliness, isolation, aloofness, ego, arrogance. So to me, it's like rising up to that tower, right? She's going to be in this like high place now, where she's safe and kind of like a kind of like Rapunzel is like this image that's coming to me, because she's risen above these other things. This like directionality from snake to bird to tower is very clear to me. And so yeah, that's all happening now is like a very strong indication of like self, like building self-worth and like building this tower and focusing on oneself as opposed to being grounded in this harder stuff, this harder love. Yeah, and like really to me that points to like a breakup in the near past or some kind of bad relationship. Unfortunately, if you're coming to this reading looking, well, there's something happening which I'll get to in the future, but if you're looking for someone in particular, then it seems like it's over. He's just right there, in the background, and uh, like there were things like this cloud and this fountain below him, but it kind of connects up to this storyline of the snake and leaving it and whatnot, and like the really clear idea of it being over is the coffin above him, which I mean, it could also mean that you like if you're just thinking about if you're someone who's in a relationship and you're reading this from a different viewpoint, then because you can read this for all sorts of viewpoints, but I'm just kind of picking out what's here. Then maybe your husband or your partner or boyfriend, like they just had a death in their family, and you're trying to work through that trauma with them together and find solitude. It could also be another way to read it. But if we're reading in this very like what seems to really stick out as straightforward to me, it's like, okay, this is over what it was, and it does have an indication that there was like good stuff in the past, and I just want to pick up on these two, the clouds and the fountain. So yeah, the clouds. Oh no, my thumbs are too big. So I don't know what. Yeah, so clouds, confusion of clarity, uh, lack of understanding, insecurity, doubt. Yeah, so actually, I wanted to make sure. I thought maybe this was more positive, but this points towards kind of like a deterioration of the relationship towards the coffin. Um, yeah, the coffin just literally says ending, dying, funeral, loss, grief, mourning, sadness. Yeah. Like clearly with the and with the snake, like kind of shedding all that forbidden love imagery that the Normand interpretation really emphasizes, with it reading the snake even as like Eden. Yeah, and then so the fountain, I guess, is maybe that like that feeling that. Well, let's just look at it. Oh, it says a garden. Okay, sorry, I was just kind of like looking at it, the image too much. Public affairs, society, culture, teamwork, fame, social network. Yeah, so like I want to say that there was a good foundation to this that ended. Maybe it was more a foundation that like existed in a certain social sphere that couldn't really click in an intimate one. Like that's why I make sure that I look at the cards more closely, the reading more closely, because I have my own ideas when I come to something like garden and fountain. I see blooming, but maybe this points to like the artificiality of a certain kind of blooming in a garden that's not like a forest. It's something that just happens organically. So then the next part of the way the reading works, so we've read these present lines, which are just amazingly like intertwined. It's like almost like the last month and this month are the same. Like everything's happening. There's still this beating heart in the key, and like things are spilling over, but there's movement away from it. There's the moon up here, the ship, like things are setting sail. And we'll get into these last two last. Whereas like these intentions here of like the star, the child, the dog, the house, the sun are all at the bottom in the past. They're just kind of lost, if I'm being honest. And behind the Frau, after the man, what was in her past after that? There are these other positive things. The book, like education of oneself. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. The read, which I'll read in a second. The stork, which points to, and the Queen of Hearts, which points to love. The cross, like some kind of oath or faith. And then the scythe is like maybe reaping what one sows. And let's just get into those really quickly. But it definitely, like, to me, says that there was like a positive line up until this break. Yeah, secrets, knowledge, education, information, research. That's the book. 11 is a whip. Oh, I said read. Okay. Conflict, discussion, arguments, debate, scolding. So maybe here, um, is that passion between the book, which could mean secrets, and here it's like that conflict of it. But like it does point to me towards some kind of passion, that was very like deeper in the past, that's not out in the present now. The stork, change, transition, movement, recurrence, new cycle, yearning. Yeah, this is why I make sure I stick with these interpretations, because they're different from what I was looking at. Even this is not as positive as I'm trying to spin it, whereas the positive line is much more down here, and it's stuck in the bottom, and eventually just butts up against that snake. Um, and then we have our last two. So we have the cross. duty, conviction, suffering, burden, intolerance, principles, indoctrination. Yeah, the cross to bear basically is how I should have read that. And finally, the scythe, accidents, hasty decisions, danger, warning, speed, reckoning, a decision that cannot be undone. Yeah, that's like reap what you sow, but really like, okay, we're like cutting off this relationship, which now that I read through it and I gave you my first impression, but then I like go to the book, really it gives all these signs of toxicity of like hiding, of whipping oneself and bearing your cross into shape, and the stork like shows that something needs to change that isn't, and eventually it's just cut off with the scythe. It's unfortunate like that it's such a hard reading. I always want to share positive stuff on my channel, but I'm like here to also learn, and we're trying to just learn this. It's called the Grand Tableau, this style together. But the point is like she is growing and moving on, but I have to be honest about what happened, like what it shows happened in the past. And this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months in the past. So we could be looking at like things starting in August that are playing or finalizing now, finalizing really in these 2 months of the new year, January, February, and are now moving on because what we see here is like some kind of compromise, without that the question asker, the querent, the woman, the Frau is making with herself. This the solitude, this self work, coming with like anchoring oneself, the moon, the heart, and the key all working together as like kind of unlocking something within herself. And I just will read the anchor briefly, but this is definitely what I see more. It's maybe a lonely hermit like reading that only extends up until like April, like past April. So if there is a stagnancy after like a hard breakup, that makes sense, and it's not for super long. So just fair warning, like these things happen, and like the cards won't lie to you if they did. Yeah. So the anchor, yeah, stability, restraint, security, resilience, durability, laying foundations. I think it's perfect, and the foundation is laid here, like between your heart and the moon, and they're like locked together with that key. I think it's quite beautiful, but there's like a lot of heavy stuff that is coming out of it. It's like almost like this key both locks the tower and opens it depending on what she's ready for and how she's grown. And then yeah, this final look, which I believe is like April to early May 2025. It's like the ship, it's leaving, like it's gone. It's cute. It has like a Belgian flag. I think that maybe the author of this tarot might have lived in Belgium. Like moving on, right? And here we have the fish too. It's like in swimming with the fish and being in the ocean, being that rider. Like this part here that's closest to as close as we can look into the future, as far as we can look into the future. I'm sorry. We see the rider moving on, and with all the hearts, it's like ready to start again. And the interesting thing is that there you get that ring, and I don't know, it's very eerie. It's like meeting someone new, I suppose. It seems like that commitment, promise, honor, partnership, cooperation, cycles. Your rings are circles. I did write that poem about the circle. There it is right at the end. If you're someone who doesn't want to hear that there's like this past person coming back, let's just cover him so that everything's safe. That's what I like to do with these little things with this little heart. Maybe that'll help things heal. If if you don't want to hear that, then I'm sorry. It is a possibility, and it's like right as she's moving on, that could happen again, where there's like a sudden gift. And it's funny, in my other reading I did, there was like a sudden gift in the form of an apple in that Russian tarot, which kind of caused some disruption to the house because the house card was upside down. It's like this house, this tower that she's built, and is protecting her. If that's not what you want to hear, then I'm sorry, it might happen, but it does also look like if it does, then she's put herself in the condition to be able to absorb that and move on, and be the rider who and on the ship and with the fish, and just sail away from that and ride away from anything that's in this past. It's not a super hopeful reading I'm giving, except that and then she's in the position to meet really someone who can make a promise this ring in a better way. Yeah, kind of heavy, but at least you can see this whole card process. Because it actually only played out up until like April, May. I'll probably try to do another reading then, and not with these cards because I'm going to show off more of my other cards, but yeah, to kind of get the sense of where things are, because this was like intense and really clear, I think. But let me know what you think. But I've never had these things be so close together. They're just like lovely, like the tower and the coffin dancing together, and yeah, and like this interplay of the snake in the garden, and yeah, really was fun, and I think it helped me practice more. And yeah, I'm sorry I'm on my phone like looking, but it's really hard to memorize those things. A lot of them just aren't intuitive and come from like a different tradition than I'm used to. Yeah, so I hope you have fun. I'm sorry I couldn't give you something more positive, but let's finalize this now. And and let's protect our querent as much as possible. Kind of spilled over to the guy. Maybe it wants to. And so we'll just kind of take the cards here and just look, where do we want to put that? We want to put that on the ring, right? Oops. Because I just like to close things. Like there's all this energy coming up from them, and I just want to close them. Where should this one go? I just want to close the idea of a coffin. I just don't want to see. And then I'm just going to put out some of the Denis and Damiana here. I'll clean off my cards later, don't worry, when I shuffle them. But I'm going to let them sit for a day and just soak things up. And maybe this will kind of soak up some of those like harder mojos that existed in this reading. And then the last thing I like to do, where should we put this? This circle, yeah, like oof, I want to put the circle here, honestly, and then this, like, from the snake. And then the last thing I do is I pour my candle on the table, which I don't recommend for everyone. Oh, actually, what I'm going to do is snuff it. Oh my gosh, I almost blew it out. And then I'm going to just move the wax around to keep this red one in its new container. So this kind of helps seal this candle in to its new home, even though I've already sealed it once. Just keeping it in more, and then we'll get a little bit on the table. Great. Yeah, and that kind of closes everything and lets it sit in the room. This thing worked perfectly. So you got a little bit on it, which is great. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the unboxing and the love reading. I'll see you next time. Bye.